episode, Jay Ellis. We got some intel on the Knicks draft. We're hearing about two prospects that the Knicks like at the 27th and 38th pick. So we have Ethan Pechota coming on later on and talk about it. We're also going to talk about some news that transpired over the weekend, including the official return of Coach Mike Woodson coming back. But first, we have to pay tribute to one of the legends of the sport, man, because, as Knicks fans, we always, salute Patrick Ewing, but there would be no Patrick Ewing or the legend of Patrick Ewing without the legendary coach of Georgetown basketball, and that was John Thompson. And John Thompson's impact was not just on Patrick or the Georgetown basketball program, but his impact on the culture at large was certainly felt. So joining us tonight to pay tribute to Coach Thompson is an icon himself, friend of the program, JL's Chuck D in the building. Chuck, how you doing tonight?
What's up, gents? I'm an icon. I try. I don't know about icon. A lot of cons running around these days, man. So I
had the wordplay.
Hey, Coach Thompson, man. At 78. You have to salute that life. Even in the times that we have, some people consider that like being shortened. My dad passed at 77. I felt like he had a full life, but at the same time, you feel that, damn, make it to 85 or 90 or 80 or whatever. Right. So a lot of times you hear people say, wow, he's still kind of passed kind of young. But in retrospect, with what happened this weekend when, Cliff Robinson, 53. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah. It's like, and there's so many people checking out at 40s and their 50s, man, on the last, 5 months, man. And it's just not a
Chadwick Boseman as well.
43, man. 43. And kind of struck me because it came out of what we call nowhere. Mm-hmm. So in retrospect, when you talk about John Thompson, you're like, okay. And then we talk about the magnitude of a guy like John Thompson because in the 70s and the 80s, sports had that magnitude of at least the microphone and the camera was there for the athletes if it wasn't there as much for entertainers. Muhammad Ali set that off because when they was talking about his boxing feats, he would grab the mic and first give praise due to Allah and then talk about what he wanted to talk about, even though the question might have been something else. Mm-hmm. And so that still was a rarity all the way up to the 80s and 90s. You had Reggie Jackson in New York, and he was a guy who would be called outspoken. But you got the reverence that John Thompson was somebody's father, and he was a father figure. And later on, when we had the pleasure of hearing John Thompson on color commentary on NBA games, as well as the NCAAs. I think he was also doing some of those games. You was hearing the assuredness of a black man who wasn't compromising all the time, bowing down, changing the tone in his voice, just to fit in. He's a proud black man. You're not going to be unproud playing next to Bill Russell anyway. You're going to come out of that Bill Russell aura.
It's true.
And say, not only was he a backup, he wasn't a backup to Bill Russell, he was a player in Bill Russell's sphere. Mm-hmm. So I first got the vibe on John Thompson following Georgetown, because at that period, the Big East, and y'all might want to agree or disagree, but the Big East to me, or I should say the NCAAs, from 1975 to 1985 was just as big as the NBA, if not bigger. Mm. And when you talk about the NCAAs from 75 to 85, you got to talk about the Big East from 80 to 85, and you could go on further. But that 10-year period, and John Thompson was in the middle of that mix along with Carnesecca and Massimino and Boeheim and people like that. But there was a solid structure of this dude who somehow permeated that father figure, that uncompromising voice, to be able to have us say, oh, I mean, things are tight there. And had us all believing in the street or in our hood, so to speak, that Georgetown was a damn near HBCU, which it wasn't, man. It was like the furthest. I spoke at Georgetown twice, man. And the first time I spoke, I was like, damn, it's like 3% black people here. It was almost like Harvard. And but the atmosphere that John Thompson said, I'm gonna be at this school, but I'm gonna bring in who you least expect. And not only that, every single one of my ball players are going to use this university and they're going to graduate. That was the mind-blowing thing. So when I follow the beginning of Georgetown, you have to talk about, I think, Michael Jackson, Sleepy Floyd, and then they recruited this young man from up in Boston named Patrick Ewing, which just changed the whole atmosphere on everything. And the fact that John Thompson and Patrick Ewing formed their bond. And understand this is Patrick Ewing caught heat ever since he was in Boston with the whole atmosphere up in that area, racism that's running rampant. And John Thompson was that father figure that came along, his sports father figure that said, I will protect you and I will not let this overrun you or any of one of these gentlemen, because these gentlemen I brought into the school, not only they will prove the opposite, they're going to get their degrees and we're going to just be, we standing tall. And even like when you talk about John Thompson later on, he brings what? Michael Graham. Before Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley, the first bodyguard for Patrick Ewing was Michael Graham with the bald head, in a time where cats was wearing not only afros, but they were wearing matted down, jerry curled afros. And his brother comes with the bald head, man. And before Mike Jordan, man, Patrick Ewing was the fashion statement dude with the T-shirt behind the jersey, right? Which everybody caught fire on. And then the Georgetown jackets, which signified the first hood started jackets. And matter of fact, if you had one of those, I mean, it legitimized you even if you were illegit. So that cultural thing was that bond, as well as the NCAA being a focal point that everybody looked at as being some really top-notch, legitimate basketball. We looked at the Big East because in the late 70s and the early 80s, it was like our times recently with the Knicks. It was rough, man. But we could look at St. John's, we could look at the Big East, and it was bigger for us in the area than the NCAAs, man. I think one year we had 3 of the final 4 in the NCAAs, and it was real ball, man. So I was asked this question earlier by my man Dana Scott, who actually writes for the Arizona Republic, and he asked me about his relationship with Allen Iverson, his relationship with Mutombo and Mourning and Patrick and all the other players with Wingate and all those guys. But I remember very clearly, just to give you a little bit of OG memory, his consoling the Adlai Stevenson graduate from the Bronx, Freddie Brown at 6'5". I thought Freddie Brown, man, was going to go NBA for real. I want to talk about a point guard, 6'5". He was a chipper. He passes the ball to Worthy after Michael Jordan hits that shot where he became Michael Jordan after Mike Jordan. And then Georgetown had the chance to get them back, and Freddie Brown got mixed up. The uniforms were kind of crazy too, and he passes to Worthy that goes and finishes off the game. But I remember John Thompson consoling Freddie Brown almost to a point that says, yo, son, this is just a game, man. This ain't life. And I think if somebody asked Fred Brown, who many people probably forgot about, I think John Thompson being there for Freddie Brown was somebody who was able to look at that in a perspective of life as that was just a game, man. Those guys went to Georgetown, they got their degrees, or they used Georgetown to their advantage as black men in this world, in this country.
Yeah, you mentioned his role as a father figure, and even though Georgetown had that style of physical and defense and that tenacity, on the other end, as you said, being a father figure, guys like AI can attest to it. Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, They said that, Patrick Ewing's mother made sure that he went to a school like at Georgetown because John Thompson could be that mentor, that father figure to him. They had a chief academic advisor sitting on the bench, making sure that these guys were doing their thing in school as well. I think the timing of his passing, when you look at the issues now that the NBA is facing with the players protesting and things of that nature and some of the backlash. And then when you look at a role that John Thompson had as kind of a trailblazer in terms of, getting more exposure for black coaches, he himself, organizing a protest 1989 Georgetown versus Boston College in terms of protesting Prop 48.
Yes.
Which the NCAA had instituted to kind of raise the testing standards in terms of, which players could enroll in which schools. And John Thompson saying, this was disproportionately affecting our kids from the inner cities who may not have the quality education as the other kids in terms of, getting into our schools. So John Thompson was certainly a trailblazer in that regard.
Yeah, he always made sure that it wasn't about the X's and O's on the courts. He was always in the back rooms looking at, he walk in the back rooms and cats started to put their pens and pads to on the left to the right of them a little differently, man. So you need that. And then you always need, the OG consigliere in the room, that the advisor that comes in and tells you, what the boundaries are, when to pump the brakes, when to pump the gas. And John Thompson was clear about that. And like I said, we know him as a Georgetown coach, but before John Thompson was a Georgetown coach, he was a player at Providence of high note. Lenny Wilkins and went to Providence as well. And then he went to the Celtics, and, you in the realm of Bill Russell. So, and being friends with Bill Russell, you wasn't being a part of the Celtics, the all black squad that people don't give props to. So John Thompson knew, in talking to Patrick Ewing, what the dynamics that young man came from, and he was there to protect him, but also tell him in a point of direction that this is going to work for you as a man.
And you also mentioned the Georgetown starter jackets. The way that they cover the game today, it's not just the players that are playing on the court. It's the fashion, the sneakers, what Westbrook is wearing, and so on, and obviously the music. But now, the jacket is actually in the African American Museum in DC.
As it should be.
And then you have the Nike Terminators, so you can go all the way back to the mid '80s to really see the start of that confluence between basketball, hip hop, and just the overall culture.
Yeah, it's you call it BM before Mike, and Mike doesn't, everybody's seen The Last Dance and stuff like that, and I've commented on many, because when culture crosses over into sports in the '80s during R&B, and that was Reagan and Bush, the sports had to speak loud to us as giving us some kind of vision to look at. So that's why I'm called in to talk about sports, at least from an OG perspective now, because I remember, I wanted to become a sportscaster so I could make a lot of comparisons and analogies, as accurate as I possibly can. And before Mike, like I said, people saw The Last Dance and they're like, oh, but I remember Mike doesn't get the real legitimate hip hop props if Spike Lee doesn't bring Mars Blackman into the table. So Mars Blackman, Brooklyn, Michael Jordan, born in Brooklyn, and then his game spoke for him after those things start to kick in. So, before that, you couldn't sleep on Georgetown and Patrick Ewing and what John Thompson had brought to the table as an all-black team and the most popular NCAA period that we've had and we've seen.
Absolutely, man. And they would say that you were one of the first artists to really start wearing the snapbacks of the Raiders and Georgetown and Detroit Pistons, and not necessarily as a fan of those teams, but what they really meant to the culture.
Yeah, it behooved me because, on It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, I wear Raiders snapback.
Right.
Because I wanted to wear a black hat, and what the Raiders stood for is Oakland, the Black Panthers. So I wanted to get that across. So it wasn't, and although it was at Los Angeles Raiders, but I knew the Raiders to me growing up meant Oakland. So if I'm wearing, a New York hat, I'm wearing a New York hat. People don't know this is the New York Giants, Willie Mays, before it became the Mets and all that. So I've always wore the gear to represent something a little deeper than just what people have on the front value. I wore the P because of Roberto Clemente, not just Public Enemy. And when you get into Roberto Clemente, you get into the dynamics of what he meant for his people, giving the Latino community in North and South and Central America and the Caribbean a voice with his, but as well following him for his dynamic play as well. But there's always something deeper. And when we were able to get the official sports hats and gear, because that we couldn't get that stuff in the 70s. I remember very clearly taking my magic marker and trying to make a Braves or a Mets jersey out of a t-shirt, and coloring it in with paints and stuff like that. And it was a licensing situation that would not really let these teams sell stuff into the marketplace. So they were hard to get. But in the 80s, some things happened. They let up, and Starter had the first licenses to actually go in and get the actual, if there wasn't 100% authentic, they was really close. Mm-hmm. And so therefore that resonated. If you saw something on television, you wanted to have that same thing. You didn't want to have a knockoff, Right. And I don't want to get started into the Dollar Tree font, man. Because there's nothing worse than getting Dollar Tree hate mail, man.
No, I hate it.
I'll be getting hate mail from Dollar Tree, man, with crooked fonts, man, and misspelled words. So let me stop.
I always think about that Biggie. So when tigers on your shirts and alligators.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well,
yeah,
Chuck,
man.
This has been such a somber year, like a year of loss, from you came on and talked about Kobe back in February, and now in this whole weekend we had Chadwick
Black
Boseman.
Mamba, Black Mamba and Black Panther. Go figure, right?
Black Mamba and Black Panther, man. And such a shame. But I love having these conversations with you, and we can really archive these conversations for, years to come, for people to really learn about who these people were and the legacies that they leave. So we definitely appreciate you giving us the time. And you're a busy guy. We know the album's coming out next month. So
man, those things take care of itself, man. I do 1 trillion interviews, and that's a visit to Def Jam. Flavor wanted to be with Major League, and I like to do independent, so that's a compromise to Flavor Flav. So let's go to Def Jam and pay some visits and stuff like that. But we have a bigger thing at hand. It's like it's a time to use a record, not for the record sense. It's time to make a statement. And if people could say, well, the platform for a record is just a statement of one line, it's like, what you going to do when the grid goes down? When they come and play these tricks, man, we got less than 75 days to go to a November. Be prepared either way, be ready either way. Prepare yourself, be heady, be smart. These are unprecedented times. And it's just not a time to kind of be backwards and on some dumb issue. I mean, it's really a serious time. If somebody just feels that, I don't feel like you feel, you look at your elders and look at your children if you got it. If you ain't got neither, then you might have some points from your individual self. But most people that I know not only got elders still, they got their children, and they got their grandchildren. Right. So you have to kind of be some solid ground, give some advice, and figure out how you keep afloat. And there's no time for micro differences out there. I personally feel that it's either or. And I do feel in this thing, it's so polarized. It's like, it's a side that might not admit, but with all the stuff that comes out that says that it kind of hates you versus the side that you're on. And before you get into who feels about whatever on the side that you're on, you got to neutralize the side that hates you, man. So, I put that out there. I'll leave it at that. Let's get back to ball. Let's talk about some things. And it's great that you guys put out, a little onto the surface about, the great John Thompson.
Absolutely, man. Well, Chuck, we definitely appreciate it all the time, OG. Be safe out there, and hope we do it again.
Yes, sir. Yes, gents. Y'all take care. Keep doing your thing. I'll catch you on the other side.
Take care, Chuck. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
The great Chuck D. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Back
Yes,
at
sir.
it again, man. Another quality interview. You know, we had to commemorate, the passing of John Thompson, man. He's a pillar, JLS. He's an absolute pillar of our community, and again, you can't talk Patrick Ewing without going back to the essence and saluting John Thompson, man, and what he brought to the game. You know, Ewing, Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, Allen Iverson. You know, the names go on. They all attribute, their success, their upgrade. Allen Iverson said John Thompson saved his life.
Yeah.
Alonzo Mourning said John Thompson saved his life. That's major.
That is major. That's major. Like when you read the stories of John Thompson and what he did, it's apparent like the impact just surpasses just basketball. He just impacts people's lives. And when you lose somebody like that, it hurts a little bit more. Like just to know that he just cares. No, it's not just about basketball. I'm just looking out for your well-being. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to stop drug dealers. I'm going to go the extra mile to fight for the people who I care about. So salute to John Thompson and everything he's done for this world.
Absolutely. Well said, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. And tonight's show, as usual, is sponsored by the good people at Manscaped, the official men's grooming tool of Knicks Post Game Live. This is the tool for you guys, man. The number one men's grooming tool. It's brand new design, ceramic blade, skin safe technology, LED light. You could use it in the shower. It's waterproof, wireless as well, excellent battery life. And for tonight's show, go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping on all products and purchases with promo code Knicks. So go to www.manscaped.com, promo code Knicks for 20% off plus free shipping. All right. So a couple other things transpired over the weekend, JLs. I got some intel.
Okay.
I did receive some intel, and when the birdies are chirping, I like to bring it back to the group so that we can discuss. One of the things I heard was in reference to the Knicks draft, and we have the number 8 pick, yes, but we also have 27 and 38. Mm-hmm. So the two names that I'm hearing that the Knicks love right now at those positions, the two names that I'm hearing is one, Cassius Stanley out of Duke, and Robert Woodard the second out of Mississippi State. And so we're going to bring in my guy, Ethan Piota from the Prospect Podcast. We're going to bring in Ethan. He does a lot of great work with mock drafts and prospect analysis as well. So let me unmute him and get him in here. Ethan, let me know when you can hear us.
You guys can hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, man. How you doing, bro? Thanks for coming back on the show. How's everything going?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys having me back on.
Absolutely, man. So, as I was saying, two of the names that I'm hearing is one, Cassius Stanley with the Knicks that they're loving between 27 and 38, and also Robert Woodard. You've done considerable work on these guys. Let's start with Stanley first. What do you think about Cassius Stanley? Tell the folks a little bit about Cassius Stanley and what you like about him.
Right. So two names that make a lot of sense for the Knicks at the end of the first round for sure. I'd say these should be, just to preface, these should be completely off limits at number 7. But Cassius Stanley at the end of the first round, you're talking about a guy, I've watched him in high school, played against him in high school a few times, extreme athletic upside, had a really nice year at Duke this year. Actually, a funny stat that I read on him, or when I was actually watching film, and I noticed every single three-pointer that he shot, every single three-pointer that he made was off an assist this entire year at Duke, which kind of tells you a little bit about his offensive equity or lack thereof. Doesn't have a lot of creation value right now offensively, but he's someone that can definitely grow into that 3-and-D mold. And to be honest with you, he's not quite there fully on either aspect yet. I definitely buy his shooting a little bit more than his defense. What's intriguing about Stanley is just that overall athletic upside that I kind of talked about. If he can kind of put those tools together defensively to become more efficient, more intelligent off the ball, he's going to be a defensive nightmare on that side. This is a guy that if you've seen some of his training videos, I mean, he's doing ridiculous dunks in the gym. He's been like that for a while. And what I think is really interesting with Stanley is you're going to get a guy who's got a really good base to build upon with just his athleticism alone, his potential three-point shooting in the future, and his defense. But also going back to his high school days at Sierra Canyon, at Harvard Westlake, before that in California, he was the guy. He was the guy that had the ball in his hands. He was creating for others. He was creating for himself. We saw none of that this year at Duke. And I think if he's able to unlock just a little bit of that, it's going to up his ceiling a lot, because right now he's someone who has, I would say, a considerably high floor with his shooting and with his athletic package. I think he has a lot of untapped potential as well. I don't know how much translates to the NBA level if he didn't do much at college, but watching him, a good amount in high school, going back through his high school tape as well, he was a guy that had the ball in his hands a lot more offensively than he did at Duke. I like buying that as part of his, potential upside package.
Interesting. When you say, the limitations from a shot creation standpoint, is that based on how he was used at Duke, or do you think, that just might be the type of guy that he is, just more of a finisher and a potential 3-and-D type of ceiling?
Right. I think it's a little bit of both. I think how he was used at Duke, alongside guys like Trey Jones and obviously Vernon Carey had the ball a lot in the post. They didn't have as much of a need for him to create for whatever reason. I thought that was something going into this year that was going to be a lot of a bigger part of his game, was just his creation, because that's what we saw so much in high school, especially on those great Sierra Canyon teams that he played with his last few years. But I mean, it all comes down to, are there people obviously within front offices willing to go back and buy that potential upside that we saw in high school? Because it's there. He was someone that had the ball a lot in high school. He was creating his own shot. And like I said, it kind of just tells the story with his limitations this year at Duke, is that he really just didn't get that opportunity. I think it's a good blend of both. And again, it's hard to project, if this prospect, Cassius Stanley, didn't, have this much offensive creation equity in college, and he's basically taken a year off from it, how much is going to really translate to the NBA. And if you're buying that part of his game, which is obviously, it's a little bit far-fetched, but I definitely would put some stock into it. That definitely ups his value and his ceiling a lot more.
Got it. How about Robert Woodard out of Mississippi State?
Really interesting prospect here. Someone I've risen on a lot. And to be quite honest with you, is just during the season did not watch many Mississippi State games. But Robert Woodard, really interesting skill set. This is a guy who's 6'7" with a 7'1" wingspan, and he shoots 43% from three. So, wow. Just those three numbers alone are going to draw the attention of a lot of scouts, of a lot of teams. The biggest thing with Woodard is, watching his progression from his freshman to sophomore year, he rose his 3-point percentage up about 15 points this year to 43%. The biggest thing is it's still only on about 3 attempts per game. So you'd like to see that number increase a little bit in volume, just to, get a better sense of what he could provide. I think offensively, he's pretty limited in terms of where he could go. This is a guy, again, kind of like Stanley, but I would say even a higher floor than Stanley in terms of just what he can bring, because he's such a freak athlete. Again, at 6'7", and you're talking about a guy, again, 7'1" wingspan. I've heard some people bounce the idea of him playing like a small ball 5 around at the next level, which is kind of crazy to me. But again, combo forward, so he's going to be able to play both the power and the small forward positions. I think defensively is going to be where he makes his name in the NBA, because although he did shoot 43%, you want those attempts to go up. That number is probably going to dip down into the low 30s next year. He wasn't a great free throw percentage, free throw shooter. There isn't a lot of positive indicators to just full on buy his shot to be, absolutely elite at the next level. So defensively, him guarding, 1 through 4 with his athleticism, if you could, play around with him in those 5 and 4 spots, just using his athleticism, his vertical, in different situations. Defensively, he could be an absolute monster, and could also, not be unplayable offensively by being able to just knock down the 3-pointer. But, other than that, offensively, he's got really limited playmaking. His assist to turnover ratio is super far down. He's not someone that's going to be creating his own shot, I think, at any point in his career. I'd like to see him, with his tools, with his athleticism and his size and his wingspan. I'd like to see him become a lot better around the rim. Most of his finishes this year were just kind of bunnies and wide open shots, and I'd like to see him expand on that because with those tools, I think that definitely could rise his upside a lot. If you're drafting Woodard at 27, which I don't think is or is it 27 or 25? I don't think it's a bad pick at all. But again, he's someone that's going to be that defensive monster at some point in his career, most likely. But past that, there's not a lot to build around with him. I think he's got a pretty high floor and a low ceiling, even with his athletic tools, his wingspan, and all those other factors.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I think, when you consider 27 and 38, you're probably looking for guys that can, yes, contribute, but can fill a role, right? And then if you continue to develop them, you see what you can get out of them. I think Woodard, he appears to be a guy, like you said, with 6'7", 7'1" wingspan. The wing defense on the wings is a premium. When you look at what these guys are doing in the bubble, you look at what Jimmy Butler's doing right now. You look at the Freak, Siakam, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, you go on. Having a guy that could potentially guard 4 positions, maybe a little small ball 5 in a pinch, may not be such a terrible idea.
Absolutely. No, and these are both guys, you kind of mentioned it, they're guys you can build with, not around. And I think that's, that makes a lot of sense, especially if you're drafting someone and who knows, what's going to happen at 7 or 8 now. It's going to be kind of LaMelo, unless the trade up happens, is out of the question most likely. But these are pieces that even for the future, if you're building for the future in New York, they're good pieces to have because they're going to come not at a complete premium. They're probably both going to be there at 38, even maybe. And you can build with them. They're guys you can throw on the floor. They can do a few different things. They can have a really high impact in low usage roles. I love those kind of players. Those are definitely my favorite kind of players in the NBA because they come at such a premium. Like you said, you can never have enough of those guys. You can never have enough, 3-and-D guys that can make plays on both sides of the ball. I think that's really where Cassius Stanley and Robert Woodard can both make impacts in the NBA is in those low usage, high impact roles.
And we're talking to Ethan Piotto, the Prospect Podcast. Ethan, based on your mock drafts so far, Knicks are picking at 8. Who have you had them picking so far?
I really like Devin Vassell for the Knicks at 8, and that's because I truly believe that Killian and LaMelo won't be there. I think if Killian or LaMelo is there at 8, they absolutely pull the trigger on one of those two guys. I think that either two of those point guards are just tremendous fits, but Devin Vassell is nothing to gloss over either. I labeled him as my favorite prospect in the draft because I think, even out of every single prospect in this class, he's the guy that I'd most be willing to bet my chips on that he would succeed in the NBA at some level, in some role, because he's just got such a great base to build around, such a solid skill set. You're talking about a guy that's going to be an instant impact defender. He's going to be able to knock down shots at a high level, off the catch, off the dribble. I think that's something that you can't place value on. He's probably the best team defender that I've scouted throughout the few years that I've done this. He's just a game wrecker on that side of the ball. I think if you put him on a team like the Knicks, and he's not going to be forced to be the main guy either right away. And you kind of just let him build in the starting lineup off the bench a few times. He could be a really, really good piece if a few other guys are to come over. And he's basically like, if we're talking about Woodard and Cassius Stanley, he's like the few tiers above him, in my opinion, in terms of what he can do on both sides of the ball. Just a game wrecker. I can't stress that enough defensively, on ball, off ball. If he adds about 10, 20 pounds, it's gonna up his ceiling as well, because I mean, he's gonna be like a Matisse Thybulle kind of impact guy defensively this year, his first year in the NBA. And I think even more off ball, you're gonna see it with Devin Vassell. He's just so disciplined, and he really just wrecks game plans.
Gonna be interesting, man. Well, we got 2 more months to pontificate, man, but we definitely hope to have you back on the show to talk more prospect breakdowns as well. Keep up the good work, man. Let the fans know where they could find you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Ethan Piota. You can follow my podcast at Prospect Pod. We're going to be ramping up some of our content that we're putting out, like you said, over the next 2 months or so that we've still got to go. So appreciate you having me on.
Great job, Ethan. Thanks again for coming on, man. Good to talk to you.
Salute.
Yeah.
That was Ethan Piota of the Prospect Podcast. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. So, Stanley and Woodard, JLs. Those are the two names that I'm hearing that the Knicks absolutely love later on in the first and second. And hey, listen, these are later round picks. Obviously, we're not talking star power here, but you never know. And you're looking for guys that you can continue to develop. Get them in here. Are these Thibodeau type of guys? These are defense first type of guys. In Stanley, you're looking at a slasher type. Get to the rim, could occasionally knock down that three, but give you some solid defense. And Woodard, like I said, you get that Swiss Army knife that you can put out there, twos, threes, fours, maybe small ball fives, the way he gets after it. Again, not a bad position to fill a role on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I heard Cassius Stanley is iffy on defense, but I do like the fact that he does hit the corner three at a high clip, something that Tom Thibodeau likes to stress, hitting those corner threes. But some solid picks at that position for the Knicks. And Robert Ward, he actually he's intriguing as well, man. You can't hate a 7-foot wingspan, man, and a guy you can switch from 1 to 4 or even 5. So I feel like these guys will most likely be in the G League if we do draft them. If we don't, choose to package them for something else. But some intriguing draft prospects for the Knicks for sure.
Hey, not a bad position to be in at all, man. We need to be considering assets and the development side of the house. So that's what it is. Let's get them in here. We got some new coaches.
Yep.
And let's see what they do with them to get the best out of them. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. What do you guys think? Call us up 657-383-1509. Just finished setting up Jay Ellis here. I'm gonna read some super chats. I see Miami beat the Bucks in the first game of tonight. Jimmy Butler went off.
Sleeper.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you,
Miami's
Bucks are gonna get knocked off, man. They're gonna get knocked off.
Miami has a 3-point shooting and a defense, man. I don't know. Jimmy Butler's a sleeping giant.
Sleeping giant, man. I mean, again, they have the versatility. Dragic is playing unbelievable. Bam is playing well. Duncan Robinson splashing everywhere, lighting it up. Mm-hmm. You have the defense of Crowder. You have Iguodala, the savvy veteran. I hate giving credit to Pat the Rat, man, but damn.
Yeah, man, he just keeps doing it over.
Damn, does he know how to put a team together, Jay Ellis, in his old age?
Old step.
In his old age, does Pat the Rat know how to build a team or what, man?
Man, it's like, 3-and-D. I got you.
Yeah. Not a problem.
I got you.
Not a problem.
Like every year. It's like,
and then you're looking at Jimmy Butler and you're like, what the hell was Philly thinking letting this guy out the door?
Yeah, they tried. They tried to keep him, but he wasn't feeling them.
Talk about #fail, and then you see Embiid subtweeting his own team on Twitter tonight. Talk about that Jimmy Buckets, he's something else.
Oh my God, man. It makes me sick a little bit, man. Yeah. I don't know what I could see him trying to bolt to warmer pastures.
Yeah. Who? Embiid?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Well, let's see what happens, man. I think they're gonna keep that team together and try to do it for one more year, but the end is near for Philadelphia for sure. Let's go to the phones. JJ from Brooklyn in the building. JJ, how you feeling, man?
Yo, it's Dallas. What's good? How you guys doing?
What's good, bro?
All right.
Chilling, man. So I'm just very torn on Vassell and Naismith because the thing that worries me most about Vassell is, we call him 3-and-D, but the 3, I'm not sure because there's so many games where there's not much volume there.
Yeah,
volume.
There's
games where he took 1 or 2 or 3 3-pointers. So I like to see a little more volume, and because the free throw percentage is low 70s.
Right.
So I'm just not 100% sold on him being this, knockdown shooter. By Naismith, we know he's a legit sniper. So
yeah,
it's close, man. I know he's not a defender. Naismith, obviously, that's nowhere near what Vassell is. But the thing, if I had to choose, I would go Naismith at 8 And then if we could, obviously try and package and a trade up from 27 and get a Kira if he's there in the teens, or if we don't trade up, two guys that I really like. One is Desmond Bain, and then another is Tyrell Terry. If we could get one of those, I don't know if those guys will be there at 27. They may go a little bit before. So I'm trying to maybe, if we could just trade up a little bit, I think that would be, a smart thing. And then the other day, I called about, and everyone's going crazy when I mentioned John Wall. So I'll take the L for that. I was just looking to try and get another first-round pick in next year's great draft. So I was just looking outside the box way, take a better contract, but I didn't know it was that awful. So my bad.
It's bad, man. JJ, are you in the chat by any chance? Don't let them catch you in the chat, man. Just don't let them know you're JJ from Brooklyn.
Am I what?
Chat. I said, are you in the chat? Are you in the chat right now? Are you in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful in there, man. The chat was not happy about that John Wall comment, man. Just don't let them know it's JJ from Brooklyn when you're typing, all right?
Yeah.
All right, yo, take it easy, man.
Woo, just John Wall for what is he? 45 mil a year?
Yeah, the last year is 45 million, bro. Woo. 45 million, bro. But he's got like 4 years left, 4 years left. It was crazy.
Talking about a same old Knicks move. That's
no. Can't do that. Can't do that at all, man. The Nesmith and Vassell comparison is it's interesting because obviously Nesmith, shot creation is a big difference between the two of them. Nesmith is a guy that can do it on his own.
Right.
With Vassell, you're gonna maximize him as you get better at the point, as the spacing gets better, as RJ gets better. So it's gonna take time. Vassell's progress is gonna come once the overall team elevates. Whereas a Nesmith, it's a guy that can get it on his own.
Exactly. And he could possibly, depending on who we get in this off season, whether it's a backup or whether it's Fred VanVleet or whatever we get, maybe we can see some of him shine this season if he's able to, have somebody set the table for him. But like you said, it really depends on it depends on what direction the Knicks go in. And I actually like Vassell as well. Even though I'm Team Kira still. I'm still Team Kira.
Yeah. Well, I think the question is just will they go up and get him at 8? Right now, we really don't know what their draft board looks like. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, when you consider the fact that these guys are probably not going to get an opportunity to host individual workouts, a lot of what they're going to be relying on is intel. And here's where the relationship factor plays in when you think about Leon Rose, Walt Perrin, Scott Perry, the work that him and his team have done. When you think about Kenny Payne and obviously knowing about the Kentucky prospects. When you think about, Alex Klein, those scouts and all that, the relationships that they have, they're going to be relying on heavy intel in terms of how they're going to be evaluating some of these prospects.
Yeah, I feel a little bit more at ease this year knowing that we have a guy like Will Perrin over here who's made a reputation out of outworking people year in and year out, and the evidence shows from the work he's done in Utah with drafting up to get Donovan Mitchell. And so I feel more confident this year that we're gonna do well, CP. I'm hoping with the limited time, and even if there is no combine, I think we've done our homework so far. So hopefully it pays off for us.
Yeah, hopefully it pays off, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got 442 checking in on the Knicks Fan TV side of things. Salute to everybody watching on Facebook as well. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button for you boys. A couple super chats came in. JL's Michael Parker. Salute to Michael Parker. He says, salute to CP and JL. Salute to Public Enemy Chuck D. Salute to the chat. One time for the mods. RIP to Chadwick Boseman, John Thompson, and Cliff Robinson.
Absolutely.
Definitely agree. Vlad sends us a $25 super chat. It's Blade Pinderhughes in here. So I don't know if you remember Class Act, JL. It's a movie Class Act. One of my favorite movies of all time. Kid and Play, definitely classic. But this dude Blade Pinderhughes, he's from the Twitter family. So appreciate that. We got Joe Collins in here. He sends a $7 Canadian super chat.
Okay.
He says Marcus Howard, undrafted gen, but he still hashtag risk it all for LaMelo Ball. He's all in on LaMelo, man. He's all in on LaMelo. What Ian Begley is saying is that, they're still high on LaMelo. I just don't see them making anything crazy to go get him.
Nah.
So I don't see that trade. I don't see it.
We're too low. We're too low.
Unless a miraculous slip happens, which makes the trade a little bit more cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they go for it.
What's the lowest? Like the lowest he can slip was like 4 to me. I can't, and that's even baffling.
Yeah, and even if he slips 4 to Chicago, I think they would still take him.
Yeah, like what? Why would Chicago not use him? That doesn't make no sense for Chicago to.
Yeah, I think Chicago would still take him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm counting out the LaMelo stuff, but you never know. The stranger things have happened. But like I said on the last show, I think it's gonna come down to these 5 people. I think at 8, I think it's gonna come down to Okoro, Vassell, Obi, Halliburton, and Hayes. I think it's going to come down to those 5 people. You never know. Neesmith might be up there. Maybe Sadiq Bey's up there. We never know. This is just based off of, the mocks that we're looking at and some of the analysis that we're looking at and the consensus there. I think it could come down between those 5 guys. I do think Obi is a contender that people are sleeping on for the simple fact that I think they're going to try to trade Randall. And even if they don't bring him back, you still have a guy in an Obi that can stretch the floor. He can hit the 3. He's an underrated passer. Defense stinks, but maybe Mitch can help cover some of that up, and maybe they get more out of him. Maybe Tibbs and Kenny Payne, help him with his footwork and get him a bit more active there on the defensive end. You never know, but I still think Obi is in play.
I do like Obi. I still want to go point guard, but I do like Obi, and if we do, especially if we move Randall, because the value in Obi is stretching the 4 and the passing. And I do feel like he, having a stretch 4 just opens up so much for everybody else. And I think he can do that, especially the passing. The passing, I know the 3-point shooting is there, but the passing from Obi from, as you see, the top of the key, the alley-oops, that's a huge asset to have from a big man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if Obi was a Knick for sure.
I wouldn't sleep. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't sleep on it. But I think it's going to come down to those 5 guys. So let's see what happens. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Edward from Jersey City. Edward, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Thank you guys for taking my call. And once again, you guys are doing a great job. It's a great show. So about the draft and the 8th pick, I actually think we're, I know our history hasn't been great with the 8th pick, but I just kind of feel that we definitely we have like a good team in place to actually make a good pick this year, and there seems to be some promising guys. You never know. It seems like that. There's guys people are sleeping on. It seems like a lot of people are definitely sleeping on this kid, Vassell, and also Neesmith, and hopefully. One of those guys would be available at the 8th pick. And I think, I have a feeling one of them is definitely going to work out in the league. And so, regardless of what happens, I think we're going to be fine at this position. I kind of really hope, I think my dream scenario is if Obi Toppin falls to us, but, I don't think that's going to happen. But, that's really what I have right now.
Okay. Thanks for the call, man. Thanks for the call. Listen, the flexibility is not a bad thing to have, especially if you consider that from what the experts say that this draft is there's a lot of similarities as you go deeper into the draft. There's no one that's really setting themselves above the rest outside of maybe the top 3.
It's evident by the conversations that we're having, man, because I don't know if I remember having a bunch of people just yelling out like 5, 6, or 7 different names for the A spot. I remember last year, but most people were kind of had a consensus of who they wanted at that spot. And not last year with RJ. I'm sorry, the year before that.
Knox.
Yeah, before Knox, I was saying
Nickel, yeah.
It was like 1 or 2 names. CP.
It was a couple miles. There was a couple miles in there.
A couple of miles. I was Miles.
Yeah, I was McCall.
Right.
Maybe there was some SGAs. I'm trying to go back to like some of our older episodes. Maybe some SGAs.
Right. But now
I don't think anybody really thought MPJ was going to slip. Nobody knew that until the day of.
Exactly. This year, it's like 5 or 6 people in that A spot, and that tells you what this talent pool is doing. Everything is everybody's so clustered together. You just don't know.
You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have no idea, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Zilla ZGM sends a super chat. He says, I take John Wall if they give us this year and next year's first round pick, in which we could package it and get LaMelo or draft Smart and Stack. Interesting. Raw Hebrew Remnant says, hey, I hope that intel is not from the Knicks. Don't like either of those guys. Free Wooten.
That's another thing, man. Yeah. Like, we have these young guys down there that we haven't even touched that could probably possibly fill a role for us. We don't even know what Wooten can do. We don't even know what Peters can do. We don't even know what Harper can do. Like,
Kenny's on a two-way, but he's a center. You know, he's a 5, and let's be real. Outside of his shot blocking and finishing, what does he really bring? You know, he's got to get developed still. So you never know. And again, I wouldn't put too much stock in the 27th and the 38th pick, right? Again, you're looking for guys that can fill a role, right? You're not relying on these guys to help carry a team as much as maybe the 8th pick. So, you know, to take a fly out there, take a fly on a guy that you think you can develop into something and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't sleep on Lamar Peters, man.
I don't even know if he's going to be on the roster.
I don't think so either, because when you bring in your own backup point guard from Phoenix, I kind of
I think the Harper thing kind of killed that already.
Yeah, I feel like killed it, but I want to see them battle. I want to see them battle in like a training
camp battle.
Yeah, I want to see that for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. Salute to DJ's man, Hampton VA in the building, 757. If you guys are new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new. We'll shout you guys out. Who else we got in here? Simmons singing here. Michael Maldonado. We got Andre Ricardo Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Bomberg. What's going on? Who you got in your chat, Shales?
John Talento. My cousin Winston Ellis. Shout out to you.
All right.
Julian Tran. Mo White. Got some hashtag golden here. Don. Gregory Lee. Shout out to you guys, man. Thanks for representing.
Absolutely. Okay, let's who else we got in the chat here? Here we go. We haven't heard from this guy in a while, man. I thought Jay was gonna call in on lottery night. We didn't hear from him. Jay, what's going on, man? Talk to us, bro. How you feeling right now?
Hey, man. I'm just trying to survive out here with this Halliburton, man. I'm hearing Halliburton. I'm trying to survive, but my main thing, bro, you gotta pick Cole Anthony. Right? Y'all got to hear me out. He could shoot. He create off the dribble. He could pass a little bit. He ain't no great passer, but that was a mystery, bro. That was a mystery. Okoro's a mystery. We know what Cole Anthony is, man. You got Johnny Bryant. You got Cassidy that can really develop him. Just pick Cole, man. Just pick Cole of the day, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say this, bro. I'm with Jay in that what he's saying is I don't think Vassell's a mystery. I just think he's safe. I'm not really trying to go safe, JL. I'm trying to roll the dice. You know what I mean? I'm trying to roll the dice on this thing because if it seems like from what I've, from the people you talk to, it seems like the depth is at the wing position. And so if you can go down and maybe get a Tyler Bay or you see what this guy Woodard could do, I'd rather roll the dice on some upside, bro, at 8. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Look at Booker. They picked Booker at 15 or 13 or whatever he came out, and they picked Jamal Murray at 7. Why did they slip? They out here dominating the bubble. Why do Jamal Murray and Booker slip? It's the same situation with Cole Anthony. Oh, he can't. He's not gonna be like Jamal Murray. We don't know that, but we gotta pick the upside because he got the tools. He came out. He was number 4 in November on ESPN Big Board, all the way up at number 4. I think it was Wiseman, Anthony, Melo, and Cole. Just pick Cole, man. We trying to get too cute. Pick Cole. If he's trash, it'll be another trash draft pick on top of our stash. You know what I'm saying? To go with Knox and Frank and all these trash players that we got. At least we gotta take the risk. That's how I see it.
All right, I appreciate the call, man. Hey, I'm kind of with Jay, man. I don't know if he's on their board at 8. I don't know where they have Cole Anthony, but if he's close, I think I would go that route, bro. I think we need to roll the dice, man.
I'm going Kira, man.
Roll the dice on some upside.
I'm still going Kira, dog. I'm going Kira.
I wouldn't mind either one.
Going similar size. He got the speed to break down the defense. Ferrari-like speed, can whip the pass out to the corner threes and have RJ secondary play create. I'm going with Kira, man. And he can shoot a little bit, shoot the mid-range, shoot the three-point shot. I'm going Kira, man. I'm going Kira.
I wouldn't mind either one, bro. I'd be up for either one. We need a point guard badly. You look at what Jamal Murray's doing in the tournament right now, going absolutely ballistic. I think that might be bubble aided, but
yeah,
but still, I'm talking about skill set now.
No, I know what you mean.
He's not a pure point. Is Cole Anthony a pure point? No, but again, there's certainly a need for that skill set as well, man. Certainly a need for that skill set, and like I said, I think people are selling him short.
It's possible. It's possible that the teammates he had on his team dropped his value, and that he's better than he showed. But I'm still going Kira safer for me. And I know the speed is there, and that's not going nowhere.
Yeah, I hear you. Again, with Vassell, Okoro, you want to talk about Bay. Listen, the wing defense, you need that. Again, if you look at our division, Kevin Durant, Siakam, Ben Simmons, right? Who's my guys at Boston? Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I mean, you got some dogs on the wing, man. Don't sleep. Like, you got to be able to defend, because that's going to be the bulk of your schedule. So the need for the wing is definitely there. Now, is it at 8? Do they go for that at 8, or can they get that somewhere else in the draft?
Right.
Or free agency?
Right. That's the big question. Because if it's not an 8, then you have to get it from free agency. I don't know if anybody. I'm not sure. Is anybody under that spot who can really impact you on defense? It's not going to be a super liability on the offensive end.
Right. It's an interesting debate, man.
Yeah, that's a thing. You might have to just get a 3-and-D guy on the free market.
It's an interesting debate. You're still going to have to staff that position and be able to defend it, because I don't think Kevin's going to do it.
Nope.
Do they bring back Mook?
Yeah. Are we bringing up Iggy?
Iggy, I don't think Iggy's not going to defend that way. He's not a defender, bro. He's a bench guy. We need somebody that can start.
Absolutely.
So we need everything. That's the thing. We're not going to solve all our problems in this draft, right? So again, go with the upside. We got the development coaches in the house. Maybe Johnny Bryan does what he did with the Spider and Dame. Maybe he brings the most out of Cole Anthony. Who knows? Roll it. Roll that dice, Yells.
I can see the Knicks going Cole Anthony, even though I'm going Kira. Just from the tea leaves, where you hear the Knicks were doing extensive homework.
Intel.
Right. When you hear extensive, you're like, okay.
Yeah. Legitimately, the only people hyping Kira Lewis are the fans. Let's be real. We haven't heard anything from the Knicks side, whether they interviewed him or that they're high on him, right? But we have heard Cole Anthony. We know they've interviewed Killian Hayes. Hayes.
Right.
We know that they're high on LaMelo.
Right. We heard Hallie even.
Yeah. OBCAA, so CAA Mafia. If you believe in the CAA Illuminati, he's a possibility.
Right.
Vassell is also CAA.
Right. So you add all that together. I think I personally like Kira, but I haven't heard anything about him, so I'm not even sure if it's on the radar or not.
Not even sure. So again, let's see what happens. But let's see what my guy Frank from Colorado thinks. Frank, what's going on, man?
What's going on, CP? CP, how you doing?
Good, bro. How you feeling about the 8th pick?
Man, CP, I've been hitting you up on Twitter, telling you, man, we ain't gonna make that selection, bro.
Frank said it's good as gone.
That joint was going to Houston, Indiana, Oklahoma City, or Portland. I'm telling you right now, the Knicks ain't taking the selecting that pick. They're gonna do what they do. They're gonna talk themselves into one of these guys. And I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm just saying that's what I think James Dolan wants done. I don't think you bring. I told you the last time I was on here. I don't think you bring Leon Rose in here and Tom Thibodeau, 68-year-old Tom Thibodeau, to sit here and lose games next year. I don't think that. and the pressure that Brooklyn is going to apply on the Knicks situation. I think. Listen, again, it's not something that I would do. I just think that that's what they're going to do. And also one more thing: if we are going to select H, listen, man, we got to get a full. We just got to get a starter out of this draft, man. We cannot play no games here. I don't even care if the guy right after us is a star. If Cole Anthony has all this upside. We need a full-fledged starter. No more Frank Ntilikina, no more Kevin Knox, no more projects, man. But I don't even think they're going to make the pick. I think Indiana, I think you already saw Jonathan Macri. I think put something out today. The rumors are starting, bro. I'm telling you. The pick will be traded. That's my prediction.
I hear you, man. Appreciate the call, Frank. But so what he's referring to, JLs, is that Jonathan Macri, Knicks fan school, friend of the program, salute to Macri. Oladipo is supposedly unhappy with the Pacers, and there's speculation that he'll want to get traded. Okay, couple things, right? He's gonna be a free agent after next season.
Right.
I don't see the point. And I definitely wouldn't trade the 8th pick for him. That's not happening.
Right. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I probably would if he was extended. The only thing is, I mean, I would think about it. Only thing is, I don't know how he hasn't been really the same though. So
exactly.
That's
the point.
That's it's a gamble. It's a gamble. So it's like
that's the point. I'm not trading for him, and then you got to pay him on a torn thigh muscle quad. Sorry, bro.
I retract that. I'm sorry. I retract. He hasn't been the same. I really want to see how he plays before I pony up some assets for a guy who just came off a major surgery.
Major injury. The only way I would do it is this, and this is the point that Macri had made in the newsletter as well. If you can buy low, and he came up with some crazy low offer that I don't think Indiana would even do. But if you would be able to buy low and you're at the point where he ups his value during the season where you could pull off a mook trade, then I think it's worth your while. You know what I mean? If you're able to net another first out of him, out of his first half play.
How do you buy low on a guy who was that good 2 years ago? Are they go? I mean, there might be some leverage. There's sometimes some leverage when a star wants out and everybody knows it. Sometimes it can drive down the price.
Mm-hmm.
When you add injury to it, I guess it can help us out a little bit more. But man, it seems like a pipe dream right now. But I'll wait and see.
I want no parts of it, bro. I'm good. I'll start from scratch. I'm good.
Free agency comes and he's available.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, again, but the timelines don't match. The timelines don't match for when the Knicks will be ready to actually do something respectable. By the time you get to that point, he's over 30, more mileage, on a leg that already has a torn quad, bro. No, I'm good. Start from scratch. Start over. I wouldn't touch it.
20. He's 27 now.
Okay.
He's 27 now. Next season, you would say 28.
And then you got to sign him to a 4-year deal.
4-year deal. Depending on how his injury is going, if he's recovering, you would say a 4-year deal is not bad because then he's 32. You're 32, you're not over the hill. You're still kind of, prime. Maybe you start declining at 32, 33. Maybe. So that's depending on how the next season goes with him. That's not bad if he is returning to kind of what he was before. That's pretty good, actually. I mean, that kind of works out. I feel like that works out.
It's a big if.
That works out. CP. That timeline works out. CP.
I don't like it.
That timeline works out. That timeline works out. That timeline works out if he's good. It, bro. 27, 28, 29, 30, 30. He's not like super duper old. You know what I mean?
With that injury like that, I think he is. It's a torn quad, man.
That's what I'm saying.
We're talking about
That's what I'm
a
saying.
torn
You see
quad.
what he does. That's what I'm saying. You see what he does.
You think he's gonna get more explosive at 31?
He's 27 now. He's prime right now. 27, 26.
Bro, it's a torn quad, man. I'm out. Like Shark Tank, I'm out, man. I'm out.
Let me see what he do. Let me see if he can dunk. Let me see how he plays. Let me see his percentage.
Oh man, good dude though. Good dude. I had a chance to meet him last year, September time. Him and his manager. He's a good dude. He was out here in New York too, matter of fact. So, yeah, interesting.
I'm waiting to see. You're saying no. I'm waiting to see.
I would say let me see the price first, but more than likely no. I would say more than likely no.
I'm waiting to see. I'm not all the way out. I'm waiting to see.
All right. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Remember, tonight's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. The Clippers and the Nuggets jails have a chance to meet in the playoffs, and the good people at Manscaped are telling you that you must protect your Nuggets, and that's by using the Lawnmower 3.0, man. State-of-the-art design, ceramic blade, skin-safe technology to keep you safe. LED light, waterproof as well, and wireless extended battery life, man. This is the tool right here for #1 men's grooming tool for sure. And once you guys get off that quarantine, man, you go out on your date. Before you step outside, fellas, make sure you trim the lawn. Make sure you take care of yourself down there. And for our viewers tonight, we are giving you 20% off plus free shipping. Go to www.manscaped.com, promo code Knicks to get your offer. That's www.manscaped.com, promo code Knicks for 20% off plus free shipping. All right, a couple more call sales before we wrap up. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Couple things before we get to the call sales. The return of Mike Woodson has been finalized. The Knicks have it seems like the coaching staff has been finalized. Mike Woodson is making his return. In addition, the Knicks will also be adding Andy Greer, and this next guy's name is Daisuke Yashimoto.
Yeah, Daisuke Yashimoto.
Yeah, two guys that were with Tom Thibodeau in his previous stints. I think Andy Greer was actually an assistant coach with the Knicks from 2001 to 2003. And he was also with Tibbs in Chicago as well as Minnesota.
Right.
And Yashimoto, I think he's known to be kind of like the video coordinator, video analyst, and also been with Tibbs for a while. But the big acquisition is Woodson, man. And Woodson is joining Kenny Payne and Johnny Bryant on the staff. And so this is an interesting decision of Woodson. You know, he wanted to come back and finish business. But I think he's coming back to be a teacher, man. I like this move by Woodson. What do you think? Yeah,
I like it, man. He's at the time where he's just like, I just want to come back to New York by any means necessary. I don't care if I'm the third, fourth, fifth assistant down the line. I'm rocking, and I gotta admire it, man. And I said this before. They've talked about Woodson on this show when we did some interviews with Raymond Felton and She Wallace. He's a guy who can give you that tough love, but also has a soft voice and has to respect. So hopefully he can be a buffer for Tom Thibodeau if he gets, a little ahead of himself with the cursing and and the tough love. So hopefully he can help bridge that gap, and maybe he'll have some influence on, the Knicks shooting some more threes and even some player personnel, since he's had some success with that with the Knicks earlier before in his career.
Yeah, it's interesting. Gonna be interesting to see what his role is gonna be, right? Is he gonna be the offensive coordinator? We didn't think about that. We were always thinking on the defensive side of the ball. But maybe he comes in and helps institute the system on the offensive end. Obviously, we know what the Knicks tape team did behind the 3-point line. They obviously had the horses to do so, but they were a team that they were at the top of the league in 3 points made, 3-point percentage, and attempts. So we'll see what Woodson's role is with the team. But as you said, I think it's important to kind of have that yin and the yang, that balance on the coaching staff. Because Tibbs is gonna bring it, and so it's good to have Woodson here to kind of balance things out, but still be respected, still be a respected voice in the locker room.
Yo, it's interesting, CP, when I read up on all these assistants, the top ones, all of them have something in common. They all seem like they would kick your ass. Like if you read through everybody from Johnny Bryan to Kenny Payne, all of them have this reputation of working the hell out of you.
Yeah, these because they're gonna put in work. They're gonna put in work.
So these young guys, if it was sweet these last few years, it's gonna be a complete different atmosphere this season, man. They're going to work. I would not be surprised if some young guys crack or
for real.
Seriously, I don't know if DAJ is gonna be here or not because I don't know if he kind of responds well to that type of coaching.
Facts.
But it's not gonna be for the faint of heart this year. I'll tell you that.
Factuals. Now one person that won't be back with the team is the director of performance, Mubarak Malik, aka Barr. He was there with the team for 7 years. And he had this to say on Instagram. He said, "Today marks the end of my chapter. I resigned from my dream job. Been there for 7 years, blah, 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 blah." Here's what's funny. He says, I've grown by working with one of the most prestigious sports teams in the world, but know what? Question mark. No one can question my tireless work ethic, my daily pursuit of excellence to be the best I could be, so that I could be the best to serve the team or take away the impact I've made in the NBA in such a short period of time. And that's why I'm at peace with my decision.
Huh.
Is he talking to someone? Who's he talking to right there, bro?
Yeah. That sounds like a subtweet. Or
that sound like a little shade.
That does sound like a little 2 o'clock shade.
Yeah, like a little joint. You know what I mean? Like the little ones that you have in the back seat of the window, the child window. Like a little,
for sure.
It sounded like a little dart was thrown there. I don't,
Nobody can tell me what I did.
Very, very interesting. Listen, when every regime comes in, they want to bring in their new people. He probably got, he's probably sour grapes there. Felt like he wanted to continue, and they probably didn't want to bring him back. So
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't by choice, or maybe they wanted him back in a lesser role. And he was like, "Screw this! I'm just gonna be out."
Yeah,
because I more kind of a la Mike Miller. Who knows if he'll be back or not?
That's right. Right. So, sounding like there was a little sour grapes there in the end, but all right, good luck to him.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to him, wherever his next destination will be. All right, let's go back to the phones. Last call of the night, JLs. Let's go to Vlad from New York. Vlad, how you feeling, bro?
Yo, CP, what's up, man?
How you
Brand
doing,
new
man?
listener. Long time. Yeah, long time Knicks fan, yo. Hopefully I'm coming through clear, man. It's dope that y'all got a space for us to kind of, get on here and talk, man. So salute to you and everything that you're doing, man. But, yo, that's me, man, on Twitter. Yo, Blade Penderhughes. But, yo, first and foremost, man, y'all got to stop being scared, man. Stop being scared, yo, because that's what we've been doing for a little too long. Number one, we got to go for either Obi Toppin or LaMelo Ball. If we can't get LaMelo Ball, we got to go for Obi Toppin because I think that he got the full package. We got Mitch down low with him so he can make up for whatever it is. And other than that, man, if we're going to go the point guard route, there's too many other point guards that we could reach for and see what happens, man, whether we trade up and acquire Trey Jones or if we could go for Tyrese Maxey or one of those players, man. But I'm definitely with my man Jay from New York, too, man. I think that we should go for Cole Anthony. If we could leave the draft with Cole Anthony and Obi, I'll be happy. I'll be happy with that.
I appreciate the call, man. Well, that's a tough draft, bro. I don't think that's gonna. Well, for sure they're not gonna be trading, to make that happen. But well, actually, you never know, bro. You never know. Yeah. If they feel like if Cole is dropping into the 20s, and they're able to package 27 and 38, maybe it's not impossible.
I feel like 27, 38 and what? Because I feel like it has to be.
You gonna trade 3 picks for Cole Anthony?
No, I mean like a young, I don't know, a young piece. I don't know, a young piece.
We have no young pieces. The team stinks.
I mean, we got.
Or you gotta send him Jared Harper to 2-way contract.
Yeah, there you
Nobody
go.
wants any of our players, man.
I don't know, man.
We stink.
I don't know. Man. I'm pontificating. I don't you think 27 and 38 is gonna have you move up 7 spots. That seems
yeah, it's tough. I don't know.
lot.
I don't see it. Like I said, I don't see it. I don't see it, but anything's possible still. But I think it's a low possibility, but anything's possible. Let's get Patrick in here. Patrick from New York wants to talk draft. Patrick, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
What's good, bro?
Long time Knicks fan. Thanks for having me out here.
All right.
I don't know, man. I mean, you know, I hear a lot of the Cole Anthony. I really want LaMelo Ball, but I think, like Jay Ellis said, man, Kira Lewis, man, he's something else, man. That speed, the way he changed directions, boy can shoot. I'm like, if you're gonna take a chance in a point guard, why not him? Because I mean, Obi Toppin, he nice, but he remind me of Stoudemire. If you don't got a point guard that could pass it to him, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. And I was thinking, like, earlier, I was talking about who for the three. I was thinking about bringing Justin Holiday back and having RJ slot to the three.
Yeah, that was another name. That was another name we were hearing. Appreciate the call, Patrick. That was another name we were hearing. JL is that they're very high on Justin Holiday.
I liked him.
I liked him. Listen, I thought people were killing me a couple of years ago when they gave Ron Baker the bag, and I was like, why don't you just bring Justin Holiday back? And all the stat warriors are trying to kill me, talking about, oh, look at his field goal percentage, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo, we should have never let this guy walk. What are you talking about?
Dude, we let him walk. We signed Tim Hardaway Jr. and I was like, what about Justin Holiday? I was tight in Justin Walker. I felt like he had a solid season.
Yo, we signed Ron Baker to $4 million a year, and Justin Holiday that year, I'm gonna tell you right now, that same year, Justin Holiday signed with the Bulls for, I'll tell you this right now.
Nothing too. It was nothing.
He signed a multi-year deal with the Bulls for the same amount.
Nothing.
Yeah. Same amount. $4 million. $4 million.
Yeah, and shot decently, 35% from three that year. Last year he shot 40%. So it's like the defense is still there. The 3-point shooting is up 5% to 40%, which brings you into that elite, kind of shooting level. Even though he doesn't take a lot of threes, only 1.8.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like he's like a cheap 3-and-D option guy, not a high value shooter, but he'll get the job done.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at him as a starter. I would look at him as a bench piece, but a quality bench piece. I would look at him as a quality bench piece. Or you could just bring back Dotson, bro. We could always just free Dot.
We could just do that.
We could always just free Dot, So, interesting call. But appreciate the call, Patrick. Let me shout out some super chats. Let's see. Siobhan Robinson says, I'm hearing whispers Alonzo coming to New York. What do you think about that, JLs?
Alonzo to New York. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. He got his 3-point shooting up to something we sorely needed. He's definitely a point guard.
Yeah.
Didn't play well in the bubble, but that's the bubble.
Yeah.
I'll take the season long average he's had over the 8 games he had in the bubble. So, I'm not mad. I'm not mad depending on the price.
I dig it. Delsky says, would it make sense to send a package to Philly surrounding Mitch and Randall for Embiid and draft Obi? I would say Philly's not taking that. I don't think they're actively going to trade Embiid or Simmons. I don't think so, bro.
No, that's why they got rid of the coach so they can try one more.
Yeah, I think they're going to try again. Elton Brand's job is riding on it. I don't think they're going to rebuild just yet. Supreme Stream says, take Obi at 8, trade Randall 27, DSJ to the Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie. Nets may need salary cap relief.
For who?
Dinwiddie.
To the Knicks?
Yeah. They're not, Knicks and Nets aren't making any trades.
No. No.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry.
I would like to see KD trade Dinwiddie after he recruited him to the Nets. That would be the ultimate sacrifice.
That would be funny, just not to us, because that's just like I can't, yo. It's like this new NBA mentality where this guy just trashes you for like 3 years, and now you're like begging him to be on your team. I just can't get that.
I would love to see it, man. I would definitely love to see it, but We'll see what's up, bro. But yeah, definitely great show, everybody. Great show. Another solid one in the books. Salute to Chuck D for coming on and sharing some words on the great John Thompson, J. Ellis. Salute to Chuck D for doing that. And definitely good to be back on with you guys. J. Ellis, I'm going to swing it over to you. And let's wrap it up, bro.
All right, man. Salute. Definitely check out some episodes of the Nick of Time Show on YouTube. We had a pretty good episode. Last episode about God Jake in the Paint. So definitely check that out. Also check out the blog at thenickoftimeshow.com. And yeah, stay tuned. New episodes will be dropping very soon in a couple of days. Definitely look out for that. Yeah, that's all. Back to you, CP.
All right, great job once again, bro. And salute to everybody in the chat for joining us. Once again, this show is brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping on your lawnmower 3.0 and all packages. Promo code Knicks. Remember, this show is available in audio podcast format: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Alexa, Stitcher, and Google Play as well. Get your merch right below this video description. Get your KnicksFanTV merch as well. And remember, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Hit that share button. Very important. Definitely appreciate all of the super chats that come in. We use that to cover our overhead and continue to grow this channel. This is a grassroots movement. But we understand that these are hard times as well. So for those of you that can contribute, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that share button. Leave a comment in the chat. Leave a comment on the video. That is how you contribute to the show for free, but it continues to help us grow. Trust me, these things go a long way. So please continue to get involved. Continue to bring in more fans. Knicks fans, NBA fans, doesn't matter. Because this is the #1 show for the fans, by the fans. So once again, man, salute to all the mods. TM, Dave, Keith, Sinclair. Make sure you guys join our mailing list as well, man. We're getting the website going. Definitely want to make sure that we capture all of your contact information offline so that we stay in communication. So make sure that you fill out the mailing list. That's all the links are in the video description for everything that you need. And JL, so you want to shout out, man?
So shout out to John Talento, Gregory Lee. Shout out to Easy Money. Shout out to Sherwin M. Shout out to Delano, man. Delano still always repping hard for us. Shout out to Mike Murphy, Don. Yeah, everybody, man. Julian Tran, everybody who represents KOT and KnicksFanTV. Shout out to you guys.
Yes, sir. John Talento, appreciate it. Prana, appreciate it. George Jones, another great one. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Raw Hebrew Remnant, definitely appreciate it. Will Rose, my guy Alex Rotaros, Stratocaster in the building. The Shells, appreciate it as always. Michael Maldonado, appreciate it. And yeah, man, check you guys later on this week. Peace.